All right, 1, 2, 3. Go. We're good. Yeah, we got it.
I would encourage you, I gave some half hour speech today in the NRA convention. Because there are actually a lot of laws.
Yeah, but can you tell me, like, I have a young daughter, and I'm a father, can you tell me why it's more important, why you can't support stronger gun laws?
Because
I mean,
the laws,
that's background.
the laws,
Tell me about background. What about background? Background. Can we do background?
Sir?
Is it so hard to
You don't want to listen to me?
But is that so hard? No, I do. I'm just
No, you actually don't.
Go ahead. I'll listen.
So, if you look at the laws the Democrats are putting, they wouldn't stop us.
Do you know this shooter waited until the day he was 18? Why is it so hard to support stronger gun laws?
But background check wouldn't stop this shooter. But you know what would have? The bill
You
that I introduced.
we can make it harder for people to get guns in this country.
Sir,
You know that. No. You know that, but you stand here. You stand at the NRA convention. It is harder. When there are more guns to stop gun violence. It is not ignorance.
You don't know what you're talking about.
We are in this country and there are guns everywhere and there are kids dying. There are kids dying. Why is it so hard?
Why is it so hard? Why do Democrats filibuster my bills that would have stopped you if I was
I told you that. Why can't you support stronger gun laws?
I've introduced multiple.
But why does this keep happening? Why? Hey.
Okay, he's just talking.
Why does this keep happening? If you don't get out in his face, and why did you come here to the convention to take blood money? Why? When 19 children died. 19 children died. That's on your hands. That is on your hands. Ted Cruz, that's on your hands. Hey, man.
Folks, this is no laughing matter. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. And I was actually speaking with the school superintendent and asking about safety for my children. I live in a nice town in New Jersey, but I'm worried about the safety of my children, and I don't want to feel that way. And I don't blame this gentleman who just let Ted Cruz have it. I think our elected officials should be put on the spot because they make 6-figure salaries and they have premium health insurance, and they get to travel on the taxpayer's dime. I think that what Ted Cruz faced was not a big deal. I mean, so what if he was inconvenienced? He probably got behind in ordering his entree or something. Who cares? The gentleman who surprised Ted Cruz, I bet Cruz didn't expect this to happen when he was taking a few pictures with this guy. But the gentleman who surprised Ted Cruz, I commend him for standing up to the nonsense that Cruz puts out. Cruz speaks like a politician. The proposal that I put out does this, the proposal I put out does that. Well, Cruz is in favor of the gun laws that allow these kinds of guns to be on the streets. And I believe that what happened is reflective of the intense frustration, the intense chaos, and the anger that exists within the psyche of the average American. I worry a lot about safety. And as a parent, I think the most unimaginable thing for you is that somebody were to hurt your child. But that's happened. That's happened in our country. And I'm not saying that Cruz doesn't have any empathy to this situation, but I am saying that politicians like Cruz need to step up and get something done as opposed to standing in the way of common sense gun reform. Because Cruz has actually voted for the kinds of bills that allow for these kinds of automatic weapons to be on the street. This incident happened in Texas. Cruz is a senator in Texas. So Cruz bears responsibility in addressing this situation. And if Cruz has to be yelled at, has to be embarrassed by a voter, by a constituent, so what? So what? I know Cruz was inconvenienced, but there are 19 parents who lost their children. I don't think they're worrying about ordering an entree at a restaurant or being delayed or being yelled at in a restaurant. Their lives have been changed, have been shattered forever. And I think that I'm actually, when COVID was happening, I was shocked because I knew something abnormal was happening in the world. But I actually think that what's happening now is the emergence of a mental health crisis, an epidemic of mental health problems, which, when combined with nonsensical gun laws that allow a kid to buy a weapon of war, okay, and go after school children. I mean, it's unimaginable. I think the mental health crisis, when combined with the access that this murderer had in Texas, create a very, I think they put our country at a precipice and they create a very dangerous situation. I think that we should each speak. Each one of us watching, please speak with your elected representatives. Pick up the phone, make a phone call and say, look, I'm not in favor of this kind of easy accessibility. I mean, why would someone even need a weapon that's capable of doing this kind of damage? I mean, why? I think that what you saw with the voter just letting go at Ted Cruz is a sign of the collective frustration of America. And I believe that after COVID, the fact that people are now being faced with sky-high gas prices, sky-high inflation, I think that people are finding it harder and harder to get by and harder to actually survive. And then when you combine these kinds of tragedies, you essentially get the kind of breakdown that we are now starting to see in public and these kinds of altercations in public. And I just hope that as a country, we get a chance to heal. I hope that those who have mental health problems can get the help they need. And I really hope our politicians can be held much more accountable than they are now. I don't think Cruz helps anybody when he gives speeches. Cruz helps people when he introduces and supports common sense gun law reform. And he hasn't done that so far. He is behaving like any typical politician. In fact, we know he has presidential ambitions. And that is a tragedy with our country, in that people who are able to create more chaos and create more commotion, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, like Ted Cruz, I actually put them both in the same category. I think they tend to go further because they tend to get more attention. And that really is a tragedy of this situation. Let me know what you think in the comments section below about my analysis of this altercation between Cruz and the constituent, and let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications. I want you to know I really appreciate you on our channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.